Welcome and thanks for joining Basingstoke Salvation Army's daily devotional, Battle Drill, with Lieutenant Rob. For more information, please head to basingstokesalvationarmy.semen.net/battle drill.
This week we're looking at the story of Joseph, and our passage is Genesis chapter 45, verses 1 to 15. Today I'm reading it from The Voice. Judah has come a long way. He is no longer the selfish young man who conspired with his brothers to sell Joseph into slavery. Though he knew that decision would have a devastating effect on his father, Judah did not seem to care. Nor is he the lustful man who propositioned the prostitute who happened to be his daughter-in-law. Now he is different. His priorities have changed. He is willing to sacrifice his freedom and future to save his father the grief of losing Benjamin. Judah's transformation is not immediate. It takes years to accomplish. But his place in the family and his selfless example impact the children of Israel for generations to come. Then Joseph could no longer keep his composure. The room was crowded with people, so he ordered his attendants, "Send everyone out of the room." Joseph didn't want anyone else in the room when he finally told his brothers his true identity. But he began to cry so loudly that the Egyptians heard it, and the Pharaoh's household heard it too. Joseph turned and addressed his brothers. "I am Joseph. Is my father still alive?" But his brothers were too shocked to speak. They couldn't answer, for they were so overwhelmed that they were standing in Joseph's presence. Joseph said to his brothers, "Come closer to me." His brothers approached him cautiously. "I am your brother Joseph, whom you sold into Egypt," he said. "Don't be upset or angry with yourselves any longer because of what you did. You see, God sent me here ahead of you to preserve life. For famine struck this land 2 years ago, and there are 5 more years in which there will be no ploughing or harvesting. God sent me here ahead of you to make sure you and your family survive this terrible ordeal and have a remnant left on earth. So it wasn't really you who sent me here, but God, the same God who made me an advisor to Pharaoh, master of his household, and ruler over everyone in the land of Egypt. Hurry now, go to my father and relay this message. Here is what your son Joseph says. God has made me master over all Egypt. Come to me and don't delay. I'll arrange for all of you to settle in the land of Goshen, where you can be near me, you and all of your children and grandchildren, as well as your flocks and herds and everything you have. I will provide for you there. Since 5 more years of famine are still to come, I will make sure your household and everything you have will not descend into poverty. Now you see with your own eyes, and even my brother Benjamin sees, that it is really I who speak to you, even without an interpreter. You must tell my father how honored I am here in Egypt. Tell him everything you've seen here. Hurry, bring my father here." With that he fell upon his brother Benjamin's neck. They embraced and both wept. Then he kissed all of his brothers one by one, cried on their shoulders as well, and after that they talked for a time together. Amen. Do you know what your name means? I remember my mum telling me that Robert means bright fame. I'm still not sure what to do with that. Long after his many years of suffering, when Joseph was prospering in Egypt, he had 2 children. He gave them names that reflected the sadness and pain he'd been through in the past. His first son was called Manasseh, from the Hebrew word for forget, reminding Joseph that God had given him the ability to forget all his troubles. His second son was named Ephraim, which comes from the Hebrew word for fruitful. Joseph recognized that God had made him fruitful in his new land, despite the suffering and pain he went through to get there. Going back and reliving the hurt and pain of our past can feel like being sucked into a black hole. Many of us do all we can to avoid it. But the Bible tells us Joseph faced up to his past. When he is finally reunited with his family, he weeps so loudly that the Egyptians could hear him. His honest grieving helped him to truly forgive his brothers. So much so, he was willing to bless them and went on to support them financially, emotionally, and spiritually until the end of his life. Can you see how God has gone ahead of you to deliver you from the hurt and pain in your own life? As you think about that today, you might want to use these 2 questions. Have you grieved over any hurt and pain in your life, or are you avoiding it? With God's help, can you name your pain and ask Him to help you move on? And I'll see you again for another battle drill.
We hope you've been encouraged and equipped by this daily devotional. Why not find us on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube by searching for Basingstoke Salvation Army? And join us again soon for another battle drill. God bless you.